Why do people do the things they do? With everything going on in our world, I find myself asking that question more and more. Is there a good answer to why? Can we change our behaviors? And if we can change, just what is the process? Hi, this is Bob Poole. Welcome to the Water Cooler Hangout. For over 40 years, I've been helping people like you grow and prosper. Please join me and guests like Seth Godin, Guy Kawasaki, Lauren Cordain, Beverly and Tim Walden, Phil Elmore, and more as we share real-life stories about sales, marketing, leadership, creativity, and current events. Need help in moving to the next level? Find out how others have done it by listening to the Water Cooler Hangout. The topic of today's podcast is why do people do the things they do? That's the big question, right? Nothing too difficult to answer. Well, years ago, I heard a speaker and author, Michael LeBoeuf, at a National Speakers Association meeting speak about that very topic. He called it the greatest management principle in the world. In short, the principle is the things that get rewarded get done. I'll say it again. The things that get rewarded get done. Or another way of saying it is, we are either moving towards pleasure or away from pain. We're either moving towards rewards or away from punishment. At the most fundamental level, there are two forces that motivate people to do what they do. The desire to avoid pain or the desire to gain pleasure. These forces also is what causes the yo-yo pattern in some people. They go back and forth between taking action to create change and then losing their drive to take any action at all. You move away from what you believe is painful and you move towards what you believe is pleasurable. Belief is very important, and we're going to talk about that more. By the way, forming habits and addictions also happen through reinforcement of the same pain and pleasure cycle over and over and over. Pain, by the way, is a short-term motivator. You actually need pleasure for long-term motivation. To make value and behavioral changes, the pleasure motivation must be engaged. Let's think once again about the yo-yo pattern in changing behaviors. I've asked myself this question about people I've seen go through gastric bypass surgery. They have to eat restricted foods. They go through a lot of pain to lose hundreds of pounds, only to revert back to their poor eating habits and gain back all the weight, sometimes a lot more. Obviously, the pleasure of eating whatever you want outweighs the physical and emotional pain of being severely overweight. Pain drives most short-term behaviors, and we're more likely to move away from something than to move towards something. There's actually a good reason for that. Paleolithic humans learned to run from the danger of animals who wanted to eat them for dinner. Saving your life was more important than finding your own meal, and this behavior of running from pain became hardwired into our lizard brain. What about your own personal goals? If we want to succeed in reaching our goals, it's helpful to know what the pain of not achieving our goals is going to be. For example, you might think you can't run a mile, as I would have said about myself, but pain and pleasure can change things. A few years back, a friend and I were out walking on a path that goes behind our homes, runs along a creek and some woods. We're walking down the path, and I don't know, about 100 yards up ahead, we see what looked like a cat come out of the woods and start walking up the path towards us. Now, I'm first thinking, something wrong with the cat. Does it have rabies? What's going on? So it kept walking. We kept walking. Finally, we stopped. But the cat looked like it was friendly, and it walked right up to me, right to my feet, rolled over on its back, and looked at me as if to say, "Help me." We looked around, and we saw a cardboard box on the edge of the woods. I went over and took a look inside of it, and there was a little food in it. Someone had scrawled a name on the outside of the box. Someone had left him there, and who knows why. He was as friendly as can be. He had been declawed, so we knew we had to help him. But my home was almost a mile away and with a steep hill at the end. Carrying the cat was out of the question. I tried picking him up, but he didn't like that idea at that time. Well, he didn't mind being picked up. He didn't like when I started walking away. So my friend stayed there, and I took off, running to get a car and a cat carrier. And I went as fast as I could because I was afraid the cat might run away meanwhile. I made it, got the car, got the carrier. And later on, I thought I had to be out of my mind as I was not in shape to make that run. But the pain of seeing what might happen if I didn't get back quickly enough, coupled with the pleasure of knowing I was helping an animal in need, overrode common sense. The cat, by the way, became a family pet for years. We named him Walker, and he was a lot of fun. So once again, pain is a short-term motivator, but pleasure is the real solution for long-term motivation. I'll say it again. Pain is a short-term motivator, but pleasure is the real solution for long-term motivation. Just like the gastric bypass example, the pain you experience in being obese can move you towards action, but for many people, the long-term pleasure of eating healthy, looking good, and being fit becomes outweighed by the pain of not being able to eat anything you want. And round we go. Dig more deeply into this person's behavior, and you'll probably find self-beliefs that block a positive value that would change their behavior if only they could identify the root belief. We're going to talk about how to do that. But first, let's talk about sales and marketing, especially sales. Sales is the one business function that is most often managed by both reward and punishment. You sell more of whatever it is you're selling, and you get paid more. You don't meet your numbers, and you lose your job. Most companies that rely on salespeople have some kind of monthly, quarterly, and annual rewards. And while some people are self-motivated, I found that the average salesperson responds to rewards. Too many companies focus too much on the pain of losing your job if you don't meet your quota or assigned goals, instead of focusing on the pleasure of rewards. I found that rewards work well for motivation in sales teams. When I was a branch manager at 3M Company, I had a pretty good-sized team of direct sales reps. One of my favorite ways to reward them and reward short-term achievement was to let the sales reps pick their own rewards. I'd give them a budget that we could spend on the reward, and they would write down what they wanted. I'd have them post a photo or drawing of their choice in a common area of the office. Some of the reps even got into keeping a visual progress graph. They had a good time with it. When the time period was over, those who had reached their numbers immediately got their chosen reward. We did it in a group meeting and made sure to praise them. I vividly remember one young lady surprising me with her goal of snow tires. Winter was quickly approaching, and that's what she wanted. I would never have thought to offer snow tires as a reward, but she got her tires, and we rolled them into the meeting to present to her. So what about money? Isn't that the best motivator for exceptional performance? Money is great, and people might be motivated to work towards a specific economic goal, but most people want and need more than monetary compensation by itself. Once the money's been paid and spent, it doesn't take long for it to be forgotten. People also want to be recognized. They want to be appreciated. They want to know that their work is making a difference, that they're making a change for good. Now back to where we started. Why do people do what they do? Or more specifically, why do you do what you do? And how can you change it if you aren't happy with your behavior? A number of years ago, I spent some time studying something called axiology. It's a branch of philosophy that has to do with evaluating principles and values. I learned that our personal values determine why we do what we do. I'll say it again. I learned that our personal values determine why we do what we do. And our values are formed by our beliefs. And where do our beliefs come from, and how are they formed? Well, most of our beliefs are created from what we can remember about past experiences, both pleasurable and painful. Remember the yo-yo syndrome. If you're yo-yoing in anything in your life, you do well to examine your beliefs. Are they rooted in reality, or is your memory faulty? Are they your beliefs, or are they someone else's? And how do you change it? Well, first look deeply into yourself and ask what beliefs you have. Are they helping you or holding you back? Do they ring true for you, or once again, are they the beliefs of someone else? Finally, accept the ones you find to be true for you and representative of you, not others. Change your beliefs and you can change your values. Change your values and you can change your behaviors. Change your behaviors and your life can change. Thanks for being here today at the Water Cooler Hangout.